Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, it is finally spring, April 1st, April Fool's Day, but it is spring, so we're not fooling you about that one. So typically when we think of spring, we may think of spring cleaning, right? So kind of getting rid of the old, bringing in the new, kind of, maybe opening those doors and windows and getting all that kind of old air out and the new air in. Well, today we are talking about digital spring cleaning and what that entails. So Tristan is going to join us now from the Better Business Bureau to chat with us a little bit more about what that means exactly for several of us who may have, old passwords laying around and easily accessible things like that. So Tristan from the Better Business Bureau, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon at the Alert Center.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. So when we talk about spring cleaning, don't overlook the digital devices. What devices are we talking about specifically?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to spring cleaning and it comes to getting rid of the digital clutter, there's a lot of things that we need to focus on. So, we all have our cell phones, a lot of us are on social media, and with that, it seems like a lot of people have the same password for everything. Makes it easy not to forget. You usually know, like, oh, I'm logging into this, my password is probably the same one I've used forever. The issue with that, though, is if someone finds your password for one site, they can use it to get onto pretty much any other site. It's very important to change your passwords on your phones, on your laptops, especially at work. Small businesses should make sure that that's something that they have their employees focus on is changing their passwords, just so all that information that we have isn't found. And then along with that, use a two-factor authentication so that you get an email or you have an app that you can use that helps you, keep your information secure. If you get
Right.
a notification that someone logged in, and you're like, oh, that's not me, it makes it easy to say, oh, something's been breached. We need to figure this out.
Right, definitely. And, it may be annoying, let's not lie, the two-factor authentication, the whole process in and of itself, but there's a reason for that, right? So we're trying to make it more difficult for people to get into your information. And like you said, many of us use the same password, even though we shouldn't. We should have different passwords for different items, different things online, especially in the digital world. So this is the two-factor authentication. Tell us, I mean, this is important. This is where our digital world is today, right?
Yes, definitely. As we talked about with scams and phishing emails and different things before, it seems like the criminals and scammers just keep getting better. They'll find more ways to get your information. Maybe there's a viral quiz on social media that randomly asks what your first car was to see how your memory is. That's just to get your information. They don't really care what your first car was. So there's so many different avenues that scammers have found. And so just making sure that we're being diligent with where we have our information. Another thing that we harp on is deleting old apps or sites that we don't use anymore, because that's just information that's just sitting out there untouched, waiting for someone to attack it.
Okay, so when you talk about old apps, do you mean applications that perhaps we've downloaded a couple weeks ago, or are some people falling victim to having apps on their phones or their laptops or their iPads or what have you that they've downloaded maybe a couple of years ago? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, definitely. So if there's certain apps that you just don't use anymore, or apps that you know that you signed in and you just have not been on for months, or it's something that you really don't use anymore, then those are perfect examples of things that we need to delete. Also, go into those apps, make sure you're clearing, maybe deleting an account or something, because there's so many accounts or subscriptions that we log into or sign up for, and maybe they're out of date, maybe they don't even exist anymore, but someone could go in and steal that information. So making sure we're staying up to date with what's on our phone, what's on our computers, and making sure that our information is as secure as possible.
Wonderful. And what better way than to start during spring, right? So you get that literal and metaphorical cleaning of the things.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're going to clean your house, then, clean everything else too. Make it so everything just seems perfect around your brain, your phones, your house. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, a fresh beginning for sure. All right, Tristan from the Better Business Bureau, thank you so much for your time today. Nice to see you.
Yes. Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day. All right, so if you are just joining us here at the Alert Center, we were just chatting with Tristan from the Better Business Bureau to talk a little bit about spring cleaning and what exactly that means for you digitally. So in a nutshell, it's getting rid of those old passwords. Make sure that you do sign up for that two-factor authentication that is so necessary in today's day and age, and just kind of starting over. You kind of have that refresh, right? When you physically get rid of old clothes, kind of put your winter stuff away and get your spring and summer clothes out, and out with the old, in with the new, as we'd like to say. And today is a First Alert 6 weather day. So talking of spring showers, today is definitely one of those days that we'll be experiencing a little bit later. Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord has the data out for us now, and he says storm chances at this point keep trending later and later. So likely nothing storm-wise, major storm-wise, until after around 8 o'clock this evening at this point. So keep in mind today, though, is a First Alert 6 weather day. Maybe you perhaps experienced a chance of a morning shower, maybe a few drizzles out there. I did when I was walking around Blackstone, just a few drizzles, nothing crazy, but mostly cloudy and windy out there today with a high of 59. And then tonight, as we take this live look over with our Blackstone camera, that's when those storms will arrive after 8 p.m. And Rusty anticipates this is a 100% chance of storms out there. So we will see droplets of some kind. Taking a live look from our children's Nebraska cam now. As we head into Wednesday, so after this evening, those storms should stop around the midnight hour. Wednesday, a 20% chance of morning showers, and then decreasing as the clouds roll in with a high of 62 degrees. You're looking at a live look from our children's Nebraska cam with the traffic out there. Yep, it's a gray day for sure. Now let's head over to 144th and Dodge. I'm playing camera roulette for you. Here we go. Here's a better look for you at 144th and Dodge. Yeah, so just it looks like we're just covered by one huge cloud here in the Omaha metro. But Thursday, expect that cloud cover to kind of vanish, to go away, right? So we will be mostly sunny on Thursday with a high of 58 as we take a look at traffic here on 144th and Dodge. So that is the good news that we do have to share with you today at the Alert Center. Now, in the meantime, for all the latest news and headlines, you can head to our website. That's firstalert6.com. And right now you can take a look at these different banners we have up here. So this is our First Alert 6 weather day. Strong storms possible as I was discussing after 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. I do have that tab kind of open for you.
That's like 1 in a million. Nothing good ever happens to the spring.
Let's close this video and get rid of that audio for you. So as a web extra, I'll kind of let you scroll through this at your leisure, and you can do hour by hour today, where those wind gusts will be, where the severe threat will likely hit, and what we can anticipate in moving forward. So I'll leave that as a web extra for you as well. Now, in the meantime, just want to say thank you so much for joining us at the Alert Center, and be sure to stay tuned for our broadcast at 3 o'clock with our Dave Zavolinsky. We'll see you then.